Welcome to episode 31, Airbnb, the eShare economy, and the three founders. This is an outline of episode 31. There are three reasons why we study Airbnb. First, this is the beginning of the eShare economy. Second, we have here the next superstar venture capitalist, Paul Graham. Third, because Airbnb is one of the greatest founding stories. What is unique about Airbnb? It's a recession baby.
Because I actually was living in San Francisco.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, and I couldn't afford to pay rent. And
so the story starts back in 2004. I went to the Rhode Island School of Design, and I went with my co-founder and my best friend at RISD, Joe Gebbia. And the day of graduation, Joe looks at me and he says, "Brian, I think we're going to start a company together." So I said, "Well, I already have a job. I'll see you." So I went to Los Angeles. His roommate has moved out, and he says, "Brian, let's start a company." And I said, "Okay, let's start a company." So I literally quit my job. I left my house. I left all my possessions. I even broke up my girlfriend, but I was probably going to do that one anyways. And I drove up to San Francisco, and Joe tells me the rent's $1,150, and I have $1,000 in the bank account. And an international design conference was coming to San Francisco, and all the hotels were sold out. And at RISD, it's Rhode Island School of Design, it's an art school, they really teach you that creativity can solve problems. If you're creative and you identify an everyday problem that you deal with, you can actually solve that. And for us, we built this. As was this. 3 people from around the world. Amol actually came from India. Catherine was a 35-year-old woman from Boston.
Hi, my name is Amol.
Oh yeah? What do you do, Amol?
The conference just got over yesterday, and we are going for a short tour of San Francisco today.
I wasn't very familiar with the whole local food scene, and they took me to a taco place. It was almost like a hole in the wall at that point, and so I was wondering, like, where have they brought me? However, when I look back now, that was a really very authentic and local experience.
How are you?
We went to the ferry building. I had never heard of a farmer's market before that. And so it was my first introduction to locally grown organic food. I was really excited to see Gandhi's statue.
Months later, South by Southwest was coming up, basically one of the preeminent tech events in the country. I asked Joe, I said, "Joe, who's the best engineer you know?" He said his old roommate Nate is.
Soon, the 2 designers from Rhode Island School of Design recruited Nathan Biharchik, 6'5" programmer from Harvard University. Now, there are 3 men and a dream.
I had one of those binders where you keep baseball cards, and I had probably 12.5 credit cards in each of these pages. And you max one out, you go to the next one. You max one out, you go to the next one. For us, that was our answer to all the rejection that we had received.
those binders you put baseball cards in, well, we put credit cards in those.
And so in the summer of 2008, we did a 3rd launch.
The next big event would be the DNC in Denver, Colorado in August 2008.
And this was going to be what was going to put us on the map. I think Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they'll start writing about the DNC housing crisis. And that's what happened. We got 800 people to list their rooms.
After the euphoria of the Denver DNC, there was a prolonged period of months of little to no web traffic.
And we thought to ourselves, our name at the time was Airbed and Breakfast. We've done a lot with the airbeds. Maybe we should do more with the breakfast.
Obama owed. The breakfast of change.
Cereal that you ought to know. Everybody's talking about Obama O's. Just one bite and you will understand. Cause every single O sings, yes we can.
He was a captain in the Navy. And that's when we came up with Captain McCain.
McCain's have all the squares you need to succeed.
Well, if we call it limited edition, we can charge a lot. So we charge $40 a box. So we put up this website, the jingles, and CNN discovers it. And CNN runs a story about Obama O's and Captain McCain's. And we end up selling out in like 2 days, $20,000 worth of Obama O's and not very many Captain McCain's.
The profit from the Obama cereals pay off the credit card. Still looking for the first angel investor, they applied to Paul Graham of Y Combinator.
We liked you guys. You seemed imaginative and determined. Those are the two things I remember. And like the cereal. Ah, my God, I still remember how surprised I was. Like, you made $30,000 from selling cereal? I mean, talk about cockroaches. Cockroaches, this cockroach
You need to explain
thing,
that, I think.
Yeah, the cockroach thing. This, I used to use this term a lot back when economic times were bad. Now times are good, so I don't have to talk about cockroaches so much. But cockroaches mean founders who are unkillable. Like, their startup is unkillable because they can survive on nothing.
And meanwhile, PG said, do things that don't scale. Where are most of your users? We say, okay, New York. So it's like, go to New York, meet your users. To New York, we meet every single user, all 40 of them. We can send a professional photographer over to your place and get some pictures taken. Would you like? And while they're there, they sat at the computer, gave them a little lesson, got some feedback. We would invite them out to the bar later on to get some beer. Built a rapport, told them our story. Really tried to get them to root for us. Had 20 or 40 really good-looking properties in New York that we had basically fully curated. When we did that, that's when they started getting booked. That's when we started getting traction.
Next is to convince Sequoia Capital to invest $600,000.
And so that week, Greg McAdoo from Sequoia Capital was coming. And so within 2 weeks, we had a term sheet that we had signed, and we raised $600,000 in seed from them.
This is the total venture capitalist funding of AirBNB. This is the hockey stick graph. Next is how to get along with 34,000 cities.
To put things in perspective, we are in 34,000 cities. In the vast majority of those, all but just a few cities, we don't really have any significant issues, and we haven't had issues. In the cities where we have had issues, we have a very simple principle. We want to enrich the cities we serve. I don't want to be in a city and not be wanted in that city.
What have I learned today? The 3 principles.
Those 3 principles are exactly what's scaled today: hospitality, belonging, and economic empowerment.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. My next video will be 10 lessons of Airbnb. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.